Hi everyone, my name is Katie and this is Becky. Today's Tech We Can lesson is Tech for the Planet.
Hi, I'm Sophie and I work in Tech for Security and Safety.
Hi, my name is Mika and I work in Tech for Retail.
I work in Tech for Finance.
I work in Tech for Security and Safety.
My name is Jo.
Hi, my name is Louise.
And I'm working in Tech for the Environment.
And I work in Tech for Retail.
Tech for Manufacturing and Engineering.
What did you want to be when you were younger?
It's really bad. I wanted to do archaeology, but I really didn't like to get dirty, so I just had to find another route, another job.
I wanted to be a news presenter for a while.
I actually wanted to be a pilot by day and a detective by night, so like a Batman.
No sleeping.
I've always wanted it to be that I had a role that had that problem-solving side and the communication, and I think that technology is the perfect area to utilise both of those parts of my brain, at least.
In our lesson today, we're going to take a look at how technology is being used to protect our planet. We're also going to talk about the people who work in jobs designing, creating and using this tech. Perhaps you might consider one of their jobs as a future career. Today, we're only going to look into only a few examples of Tech for the Planet. We have many other Tech We Can lessons for you to explore, such as Tech for Food and Tech for Energy. These lessons include even more examples of how technology is being used to help protect the future of the planet.
Before we look into how technology is helping to protect our planet, let's just take a moment to look into why we need this technology and the people working in these areas. Unfortunately, humans impact the environment in many ways. We cause pollution not only on the ground, but also in the oceans and air around us.
You have probably also heard of global warming, which is causing our climate to change. The average temperature of our planet is rising much quicker than it naturally would due to human activity. Unfortunately, although this does mean we have sunnier and hotter days, this increase in temperature has lots of really negative effects on our environment. These negative effects include more severe weather such as storms, floods and droughts. It could also include the fact that the warmer weather causes the acidity in the oceans to rise, which damages the marine life, so everything that lives there. And also, as the planet gets hotter, the huge stores of ice in the Arctic and Antarctic melt much quicker than they naturally would, which causes the sea levels to rise.
The more pollution we put into our atmosphere, the worse global warming will become and the greater the effects will be. Over the next 10 years, we won't be able to stop climate change completely, but we can slow it down. If we manage to keep the global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius over the next decade, we can help to prevent all of the things Becky just mentioned from continuing to get even worse. Climate change is not a problem we can solve alone. We need individuals and governments all around the world to work together to change this. We all need to lead a more sustainable lifestyle, which means interacting with the environment in a way that makes sure there will be enough resources left for future generations. Events like COP, which happens each year, brings together leaders from all around the world to decide how to act to prevent climate change and protect the future of our planet.
We also need lots of people working in this area to invent technology which can help reduce the effects of climate change and help us all live more sustainably. Today, we're going to look at some of the brilliantly clever ways people all around the world are using technology to help protect our planet.
Global warming is caused by a gas called CO2, which stands for carbon dioxide. Sometimes you may also hear people refer to this as carbon emissions. The extra CO2 in the atmosphere acts like a blanket around the Earth, which traps the sun's heat. Humans release carbon dioxide in many different ways, such as using cars, burning fossil fuels to produce electricity, and manufacturing the products that we use. The key is to reduce global warming by finding ways to reduce the CO2 that we are releasing into our atmosphere. Our air and atmosphere are precious to all life on Earth.
Protecting our trees is one key way we can help fight climate change. plants and trees take in the carbon dioxide. So the more we have, the more trees we have on our planet, the more CO2 they will take in for us. It can take a long time to plant entire forests by hand, but there are clever ways companies are using technology to replace the trees lost to deforestation. In 2020, a Canadian company called Flash Forest used drones to fire seed pods into the ground to help replace an area of trees which had been burnt down in a wildfire. Flash Forest states that using drones is 10 times faster than planting trees by hand, and they aim to have planted 1 billion, yes, 1 billion trees in the next 7 years.
How many zeros in a billion, Becky?
9 zeros, Katie. So that is 1,000 million trees.
I think it would take me about 7 years to count to 1 billion. That is a big number. Many organisations are also finding ways to use technology to help them reduce their carbon emissions and protect our planet for the future. Tesco is one of those organisations who are striving to find new and innovative ways to make their organisation more sustainable. Mikya here works for Tesco and is going to describe one of the ways Tesco is using technology to help reduce carbon emissions.
Hi Mikya, we know Tesco are working in many different areas of tech for the planet and creating technology to help protect our planet. But could you please describe how you are using drones and robots to do deliveries to your customers?
Hi Becky, hi Katie, thank you for having me. Many of our customers often go to the shops for a top-up shop, perhaps a basket of bananas, milk or bread which has run out. In a big shop, it's often hard to buy all of these fresh things in one go. Usually, people might jump into their cars and go to the shops to buy the small basket of items. Instead, what we're offering at Tesco is an option for a robot or drone to deliver these items directly to your door. By reducing the need for people to make the small trips to top up, we are helping them reduce their carbon emissions. Both the robots and drones use renewable electricity rather than releasing air pollution like a car would. At the moment, Tesco are trialling this in different areas throughout the UK. In particular, we are trialling this in rural areas where it is difficult for our customers to simply walk to the shop. If everything goes well, hopefully you will see this technology in a store near you in the future.
Thank you, Mikya. We really look forward to possibly seeing that technology in action.
One of the ways we can all help protect our planet is by reducing the amount of waste we produce. When we throw items away, everything which cannot be reused or recycled goes to a place called a landfill. Landfills are large holes in the ground where rubbish is left to decompose. For some types of materials, this can take many years. Landfills release pollution into the air as the rubbish decomposes, and they also release pollution into the local water sources as some of the rubbish leaks out. If we reduce the amount of waste we produce, then we also use less natural resources, such as trees. Not only that, the more you reuse and recycle, then the less we have to transport goods around in things like lorries and planes, which also cause pollution. So reducing waste is most definitely good for our planet.
Positive Carbon is a company who are using technology to help restaurants reduce their food waste. They have special bins with sensors and scales connected to them. The sensors use AI, which is artificial intelligence, to monitor all of the foods which the chefs throw away, and the scales weigh the amount of food in the bin. Positive Carbon can then provide the companies with a report, like you see in this image. The kitchen staff can then clearly see the types and amounts of food that they are throwing away. Companies can then use this information to not only save money, but also reduce their food waste and save on rubbish collections.
Our next example of technology helping to reduce waste is related to clothing. The fashion industry and the creation of clothes we wear is actually considered one of the largest polluters in the world. DressX is another company trying to reduce both waste and pollution through digital fashion. They offer their customers digital clothes, which they can buy and overlay onto a photograph. Their customers can then post pictures of themselves on places like social media wearing the Dress X clothes. But in actual fact, the person isn't wearing the clothes and has never even physically tried on the clothes, which means they still get to look good in the photo, but avoid actually having to buy lots of different outfits for their pictures.
When we talk about protecting our planet, we must also remember that we are not the only ones living here. We share the planet with millions of species of plants and animals, and our actions can often cause them harm. Climate change affects the animals who live on the planet with us. According to the World Wildlife Foundation, if we don't take action on climate change, we could lose almost 50% of the species from the world's most important natural areas like the rainforest, for example. Climate change affects animals in many different ways. Examples include the fact that elephants need to drink a whopping 150 to 300 litres of water a day. Less rain, hotter temperatures and more droughts means not as many elephants will be able to survive. Also, turtles are significantly affected by climate change. Rising sea levels, higher tides and extreme weather events have been destroying turtle nesting sites.
There are many people around the world trying to protect and save these animals through the use of technology. One of the most effective ways to protect animals is through the use of data collecting information about them. The more we understand about how climate change is affecting animals, the better we can work out how to help them. One example is the SMART software, which was created by the World Wildlife Fund, the Wildlife Conservation Society, and the London and Frankfurt zoos. SMART stands for Spatial Monitoring and Reporting Tool.
A little bit of a mouthful.
You can say that again. It was created to protect animals like elephants, rhinos, snow leopards, and dolphins. SMART is computer software that gathers data from lots of different places to build a bigger picture of what is happening to the animals. Rather than using the information from a ranger on the ground or a camera in a tree or a survey, SMART software collects all of this data together and analyzes it. People trying to protect the animals then have a much better idea of what's going on and how the animals are affected, as they have all the information in one place.
Now, there are lots of other examples of how technology is being used to protect animals. To learn more about this, please check out our Tech for the Planet challenge.
Our oceans on planet Earth actually help us fight climate change, as they absorb up to 30% of the carbon dioxide which humans produce. Carbon dioxide is the gas which causes global warming. Unfortunately, though, this has led to warmer and more acidic water in the ocean. Each year, we also dump about 8 million tonnes of plastic into the ocean. The plastic pollution, warmer water and increased acidity in the ocean harms the plants and sea life who live there. And whilst we're talking about sea life, it's also important to note that overfishing is another environmental issue with the oceans. When we take too many fish out of the ocean, we put certain fish species at risk of extinction, as we do not allow the fish to reproduce and build their numbers back up. This means we're not protecting this really important source of food for future generations.
We're now going to look into a couple of examples of how technology is being used to protect the oceans. An organisation called the Ocean Cleanup is on a mission to clear 90% of the floating plastic pollution in our oceans by 2040. The Ocean Cleanup was started by a 20-year-old called Boyan Slat. Boyan and his team use floating barriers which move along with the ocean currents, collecting the floating plastic before it breaks down and becomes too small to be able to find and remove from the water. The floating barriers move so slowly and are specially shaped to try and minimise the amount of disturbance they cause to the sea life. They also have special cameras attached to them, so the crews on the boats nearby can spot any sea life and stop the barrier if it's going to harm any of them. Once the Ocean Cleanup team has removed the plastic from the ocean, they actually then go on to recycle it.
Another vital thing to protect in the oceans are the coral reefs which grow there. Over a quarter of the sea life in the oceans depend on the coral reefs for their food and habitats. They also benefit people all around the world as they're a source of food for us, and they help protect our coast from storms and erosion. The increase in the sea temperature and acidity, which I mentioned earlier, is causing the coral reefs to die. A company called Coral Vita is on a mission to restore and protect the planet's coral reef. Their organisation grows coral on land and then replants this coral back into the ocean. The special methods they use to grow the coral on land means they can grow coral up to 50 times faster than traditional methods. Coral Vita aims to build their farms all around the planet to restore and protect the world's dying coral reefs. They also recently won an Earthshot Prize, so hopefully there will now be lots of people looking to support them on their mission. All of the technology we have spoken about today would not be possible without the brilliant people working in those areas, designing, creating and using the tech to protect our planet. Hopefully, some of you might consider a future job creating or using tech for the planet.
We're now going to take a look at some of the roles and jobs available in Tech for the Planet. For example, in the future, you could be an ecologist. Ecologists are specialist scientists who survey environments and ecosystems to assess the behaviour, quantity, so amount, and diversity of the different plants and animals who live there. Ecologists develop and use a variety of technology to help them better understand and monitor the environment.
You could be an environmental engineer. They use engineering, soil science, biology and chemistry skills to develop solutions to environmental problems. They work to improve things like recycling, waste disposal, water and air pollution.
You could also be a renewable energy engineer. In this role, you would work to design, develop and build ways of producing energy without releasing lots of that CO2 into the atmosphere.
You could be a climatologist. Climatologists design and use technology to help them study our atmosphere and weather patterns. They analyse and interpret data about the weather and climate from the past and present, so we have a better understanding of how our actions are affecting the climate. Today we are delighted to welcome Lucinda, who is a real-life role model working with Tech for the Planet. Hi Lucinda, can you tell us a little bit more about where you work?
Hi Katie. I work for Unilever, who own lots of brands that you probably use every day. Examples are Magnum, Dove, Persil, but my favourite brand is Ben & Jerry's. Because we make and sell these products, we're lucky enough to have a free freezer full of ice cream in the office.
Wow, that sounds absolutely perfect to me. I love ice cream. So can you tell us a bit more about your job at Unilever? What is it that you do?
Yeah, sure. I'm a digital manager in the sustainable sourcing team, and I work on social issues now. But over the last few years, I've worked on both social and environmental issues. You mentioned earlier the importance of data for helping to protect animals, and at Unilever, we work with data and technology to tell us lots of different things. Our products and the materials they're made of come from all around the world, and we want to make sure that they're made and transported as sustainably as possible. We use technology such as satellites to see where there may or may not be deforestation, but we also don't forget about the people. We map out where Indigenous communities are more likely to be too. Another part of my job is that I get to test new technology that has the potential to help both people and the planet. An example of this is that we're trying to think, how could we improve recycling education at home? So we thought about launching a recycling app where you can scan the barcode and it will tell you if it can be recycled in your area or not. The cool thing about working with new technologies is that you don't fully know if it will work out how you plan, so you're learning all the time. For example, recycling apps work really well in some countries, but not so well in others.
It's so great when you have a job where you also learn lots of new things too. Do you have to be really technical to work in a tech job like yours?
No, not at all, so I can't even code. In a job like this, you need to feel passionate about sustainability and technology. Really importantly too, you have to be a good problem solver. So young people today are more and more engaged in global issues and protecting our planet, which is brilliant because there's so many important challenges to be worked on, and it can be really impactful using innovative ways and new technologies to do this.
Yes, I completely agree. I'm so excited to see the kinds of technology some of our viewers could invent in the future. Your job doesn't feel like a job that a lot of people would think about. So how did you get into it?
At Unilever, we're encouraged to follow our purpose and our passions at work. I feel really passionate about all elements of sustainability. I grew up on a farm, so I've always loved animals and cared about where my food has come from, and I absolutely love helping people too. In addition, I've always been fascinated with new technologies and innovations. At a company like Unilever, who is trying to make business more and more sustainable, and with technology changing the way that we do things, there are actually loads of opportunities out there now.
It's great that your job brings your passions together and that Unilever encourages you to do this. And finally, I'd love to know what you really like about your job.
Yeah, so I'm super motivated to work in my role because when I bring in a new technology or a process, it has a huge impact due to the scale of Unilever and its reach. So 2.5 billion people a day use our products. So even a small change within the business can have a huge impact. I also love talking to innovative technology partners and experimenting with brand new technology. And one more thing that I really love is that I have a global role, so I talk to people from all around the world every day. I have teammates in Singapore, Kenya, Indonesia, and beyond, so it's brilliant working with people from so many different diverse backgrounds with different perspectives. It really helps when we're trying to problem solve and make the whole world a better place, wherever we are.
Lucinda, thank you so much. What a varied and interesting Tech for the Planet job you have. And that brings us to the end of Tech for the Planet lesson. We have covered only a small amount of the many examples of how technology is being used to help fight climate change and protect our planet for the future.
Don't forget to check out our challenge if you would like to learn more about how technology is helping to protect animals all around the world. See you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.